Episode 10 ended with me being really sad because we didn't get any items and we got only 4 shards. But this time things are gonna be a little bit different. This episode will start with us collecting everything that we've sold on the auction house and also collecting what we farmed on Fresh to BiS here on Deckmaster. And I'm really happy to see full bags like this because we want to see this constantly if we want to continue to progress with the same rate. And while Deckmaster is collecting the gold from the auction house and is sorting his bags out, feel free to press the subscribe button, guys, because we're already at 4,500 people and I really want us to get to 5,000. Come on, it takes only a second. Thank you. Now that we're done with Deckmaster, we need to continue with the flow of fresh gold, because Fresh to BiS is in a struggle for gold since the beginning of the series and he constantly needs to farm or host raids in order to make gold. We're doing a TOC 25 again because the CDs are already reset, and sadly I wanna announce that it was a complete failure because I've wasted more than an hour and a half to do the raid, and at the end I've made like 500 or 600 gold out of it. But sometimes it happens. It's like a gamble to do raids like this. Sometimes you're gonna make 10 or 15k gold, sometimes you're gonna get 500 gold. But now that we have Deckmaster at level 80, we have more opportunities. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not gonna miss out on an opportunity. I'm gonna grab as many opportunities as I can. And this that you're seeing right now is Deckmaster trying to host a ICC 25. And if you don't know how much gold you can actually make from hosting ICC raids, even without selling the shards, of course if they're on normal difficulty so you can loot the BOEs, you're gonna see it now. When I've started to host the raid and when people saw the Deckmaster is 1.6k gear score, they started complaining in the chat a lot. Like, we instantly have 2 people who left, after that some more people left the group, but finally I've managed to fix the raid and fill it with proper people. The raid was going to be a full normal run with only gunship heroic, focused on trying to kill the Lich King. Well, at least it was focused. And before somebody says something in the comments, I wanna say that I've told everybody that I will not be rolling for items this raid. I just want the BOEs and the progression, guys. I'm serious. I said that no item will be rolled by me. And basically people were okay with that. Even some of the people who were complaining didn't actually leave the raid. And it's strange for me. Like, bro, you have the opportunity to leave whenever you want. If you don't like something, just leave. Don't complain, but still stay and play. Well, the DPS wasn't that good for the group. As you can see, it took us ages to kill Maraugar even on normal. But it's not only about DPS. Let's see if we are actually gonna do a decent raid. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. But let's see if a BOE is gonna drop from Maraugar. And congratulations, we already have a BOE, which is more than 3000 gold from the first boss. Now that's a different story. The maximum amount of gold that you can make from hosting raids, guys, is here in ICC. When it's on heroic, either you need to boost people in order to make gold because the BOEs are heroic and they cannot be traded there. But when you do raids like this, which are full normal runs, you have a BOE dropping from almost every boss. And yeah, it's luck based also because you can get no BOEs just like in TOC. And here on Warmane, by the way, the drop rate of Primordial Saronite is also really low, and this I noticed instantly. And about the group, if you're wondering, it was not performing that well so far. But let's at least hope that we get a BOE from Lady, and sadly, no BOE. But do you know what interesting happened? We have a Shadowfrost shard. I have not sold the shards because I wanted people coming maybe to try and roll for them, and this is a nice technique by the way, because it's better to sell them on heroic. Here on normal, people who actually wanna roll for them, which are highly geared, are gonna come just to get an opportunity to win a shard or two. And now here on the gunship, it's one of the more risky bosses because you need to pass leader to somebody to change to heroic difficulty if you do not have the title. And like in my case, if you do not have a trusted person, I remember back in the day, I passed leader to a guy who kicked me from the group and took over the raid. So it's kind of a risk, but you need to trust your senses and how can I say it? You need to check how people are behaving and pass it to a nice person if you notice that you have a person like that in the group. Because if you try to do the gunship on normal difficulty, the raid maybe will fall apart. And for sure this raid is really helpful to the community because we needed like 5 or 6 mages in order to defeat the boss. And guys, I assure you that we were actually progressing with these people because the group was not performing well. 6k gear score people were doing awful damage. They were failing basic tactics for the first 3 bosses, which are one of the most easiest on normal difficulty. For gunship I'm not gonna speak about it because even on heroic difficulty it's like a dummy boss. And yeah, this time I'm actually helping out the community with the raid. But surprisingly, after the gunship, even with our low DPS, we've managed to kill Sourfang and the group started performing better. I couldn't believe that at this moment. We didn't get the BOE from Sourfang, but at least around 1 minute after the boss was dead and DBW didn't drop, we had a guy who left the group. Of course, no DBW, no point for me to stay on normal. And after that, we even managed to wipe on the trash before the plague quarter. Then we moved on to Rotface. I even found a replacement to fill out the missing DPS, but sadly, a BOE didn't drop from Rotface. Later, on Festergut, it was a different story because we have our second BOE that dropped. But to be honest, the DPS was really low and I was really skeptical about PP. And if we go and try to kill PP, we might face an issue where people might start to get frustrated and they might leave the group. So I've decided to go to the boot quarter. Yeah, we had people who were complaining. We had a guy who wanted to do the infusions without even telling me from the start, by the way. But I've managed to convince him and he stayed in the group. And now after the Boot Prince Council comes the best moment for me, the Boot Queen. And now you might ask, why do you like the Boot Queen so much? Well, because it drops the Boot Queen's Crimson Choker, which costs between 9 and 11,000 gold currently from a single item. I think that this is the most expensive BOE that can drop. So now you understand why I like the Boot Queen so much. But the question now is, will the actual choker drop? Let's find out. And drumroll please. Yes, we have the choker guy. The third BOE that we get. And we even got a Shadowfrost Shard dropping from the Boot Queen. Insane runs happening once again. And now the only actual boss that we can kill with this group who was left was Valitria, because there is no chance that we were actually gonna kill Syndragosa or PP with this group. I was trying to be realistic. And let's do another drumroll to see if we're gonna get the one from Valitria. And drumroll please. Yes, we even get the one from Valitria, guys. What an insane run. This is pure streamer luck. If I was not recording, this would have never happened, I assure you. Then we did a fast try on Syndragosa, but I quickly announced raid over. and I wrote all of the loot and lights hammer. And as I promised you, I didn't roll for any items with Deckmaster, but at the end we're left with BOEs for around 20,000 gold for around 2 hours and a half, so maybe 9,000 gold per hour using this method. Not all of the times, but if you get lucky and it works out, that's 4 Shadowfrost shards secured and around 2.5 hours. So quickly after the raid, everything goes up for sale on the auction house, and now you can see that the final number is around 17,000 gold of posted auctions from everything we got from the ICC. The choker was a little bit less than I thought, but who cares, guys? 18,000 gold for 2.5 hours? Come on, you can't beat that with farming, mining or herbalism. And now comes our favorite moment, the ICC 25 heroic with fresh to BiS. And as you know, guys, it's something like a tradition. I'm gonna ask you right now to pause the video from this moment and guess in the comments how many shards do you think I would get this raid. But there is also one more thing that you need to understand, guys. The more shards that I get in a single raid, the more gold that I need to give. And if I haven't farmed enough for the week to pay for my shards, I cannot go to the raid, basically. So it's not that easy. But we get a shard from Maraugar, and I even paid 10,000 gold to the raid leader for the first 2 shards that are gonna drop, because if we get a shard from Maraugar and we kill the Lich King, it's 2 shards guaranteed. And with this group, I really think that we're gonna kill the Lich King. So basically, yeah. On Lady Death Whisper, sadly, we were not that lucky and we didn't get a shard this raid. So we save 5,000 gold for now, but no shard. We have 25 shards already with the shard from Maraugar. Just if you've forgotten or if you're new here watching the video for the first time. And by the way, do you know what is one of the coolest things for me to play with these guys? It's not about the heroic runs and the shards, it's about that it's so easy for me to edit the videos when I'm raiding with the Fel and Kick Discord, because we're killing the bosses so fast and we're clearing the entire raid for maybe 1 hour and 15 minutes, 1 hour and a half most of the time, so it's really easy to edit and record. So shout out to Pivkan, to Laco and to Ilo. Thank you guys for hosting those awesome raids. I'm sorry if there is another raid leader, but I personally know you guys. And back to the gunship, sadly there was no shard on the gunship again. Like, I feel so nice when the first boss drops a shard for me, but come on, if we get 8 bosses in a row now without a shard, I'm never again gonna trust seeing a shard dropping, because guys, come on, it's an insanely low drop rate here on Warmane. Now on the Deathbringer, I again gave my best, and this time I did the little bit better DPS than the last video and episode 10, but still 15.5k finished DPS isn't that great. But I've read a lot of the comments, guys, and I really agree with you that most likely the problem is in Tiny Abomination in a jar, plus the lack of Shadowmourne. So this raid, I really hope that Tiny Abomination is gonna drop. I've inspected the other Paladins and I can see that I am the only one who is currently needing it. So if it drops, it's basically for me. Nobody else is gonna roll for it. Because let's do some quick calculations now. If you try to get Shadowmourne, even if you do not get a single shard from any of the bosses except of the Lich King, it's gonna take you 50 weeks to get the weapon, because the Lich King has a 100% guaranteed Shadowfrost Shard drop. Even if it's on normal difficulty, it doesn't need to be on heroic to have the guaranteed shard drop. But for some items, they might not drop even for 2 years. So For some people, getting Shadowmourne or Vanir was actually easier than getting some of their best in slot items, and I'm pretty sure that people watching right now had those struggles. So if you had a moment like this where maybe for a year or two an item didn't drop for you, write it in the comments now. Let's see how many people had this problem. But for us personally, we had a problem earlier, but Valitria fixed the problem and finally dropped a shard for us, which means we've killed 5 bosses and we have 2 shards so far, 7 bosses ahead of us. And now while we're fighting with Syndra, I wanna take a second to announce the live streams that we're planning to do in the future. A couple of days ago, we've did our first live stream and it turned out into an insane live stream where a viewer donated 90,000 gold to give away to people in the chat. 60,000 gold, bro. Come on, man. Bro, are you serious? No, bro. 90,000 gold, bro. Should I take it, guys? Damn this guy. Should I take it? So be sure to tune in for the live streams if you're watching for the first time or if you didn't know about it. And now back to the boss fight. We barely managed to kill the boss. We almost wipe, but the kill is a kill. And by the way, Syndra dropped a shard. So 2 bosses in a row drop a shard, and this takes us to 27 shards already and 3 in total for the run so far. And now we move on to the boot quarter and we start off with BPC. While I was recording this, I had the strange feeling that we're gonna get more than 4 shards this run, because we've seen it in the previous episode. Getting 3 shards early doesn't mean anything, but still, I was feeling it back then. And when we were getting closer to actually killing the boss, it seems like my feeling was not correct and we didn't get a shard from BPC. At some point, I'm pretty sure that the moment where I don't have any expectations left is gonna come, but for now, no matter what happens, I just really wanna put out a nice video for you guys, have some insane moments and just hope for the best. It's like I'm playing in 2010 for the first time and I actually am getting my first Shadowmourne. And to be honest with you, it's a one-of-a-kind experience. And this is thanks to you guys. So now I want to take another moment. You know that I have little segments like this in my videos to express my gratitude and say thank you one more time. But I would also like to thank the Boot Queen, because we got another shard from the Boot Queen and this makes it 4 shards for the raid, and we still have 4 bosses in front of us, which means we have a nice opportunity to have a big number. So for the people in the comments who wrote 4 or less shards as a guess, I'm gonna need to disappoint you guys, because we already got 4 shards and plus 1 from the Lich King makes that 5. But also, one more thing to mention. For the people who voted for 5 shards at the beginning of the video when I asked you to, I'm gonna need to disappoint you too, because Festergut dropped another shard. And that makes the total number of shards in our bag 29. Which means that we have spent 145,000 gold already just on the shards. And with having 21 more shards to collect in order to get Shadowmourne, we're gonna need 105,000 gold more to farm. So some insane gold farming going on during the series. It's not only PvE. And so again we come to PP. Personally for me, the most important boss. As you know it from the previous 2 episodes, I've told you already what items PP drops. He drops my best in slot trinket, he drops my best in slot belt. So I really hope that it drops one or the other, because you cannot get the 2 items from PP, he can drop only a single item, but I really hope that it's the tiny abomination in a jar. It's really hard for me to accept that for so many raids I'm the only Retri Paladin that actually needs the trinket, but it just doesn't want to drop for me. There has been like 20 different Retries and every single one of them actually had it. There was some people with even lower gear than me, but they still had the heroic version of the trinket, which I assure you was not donated because they had the LOD achievement and most likely they got it naturally, which we know that for Warmane isn't always the case. You can see some strange stuff going around here, but it is what it is. I really hope that this time we're gonna have better luck. And sadly the trinket didn't drop, but at least we got a shard, which makes the total 6 shards so far. So for the people who guessed 5 or 6, bye bye guys, I'm really sorry, you are not right. And now we get to the final boss, the big boss, the Lich King. It feels really strange for me to come and fight with the Lich King just for a Shadowfrost Shard. For most of the classes who cannot own Shadowmourne, they come here waiting for a weapon to drop. They get super hyped up when a weapon drops. But warriors, DKs and paladins actually get hyped up when a Shadowfrost Shard drops, because they're not gonna use the weapons from the Lich King. Well, Fury warriors are actually gonna use Gore and Zelk, but that's another thing. Like, they use 2 weapons, so it's not the same thing. It's a really strange feeling. But there's a lot of strange things going around in the series from the start. The progress that we're actually making is unique. The series that we're actually making are one of a kind. I have never seen a recorded series like this being uploaded, especially for Warmane. I'm not sure about the entire World of Warcraft player base, but on Warmane, this is the first of a kind series being recorded in a way like this. So things are turning out really nicely and I'm really happy that you're enjoying the videos. But now, enough with the chit chat. Let's just take the Shadowfrost Shard from the Lich King. And by the way, there is another thing that I have not spoken about yet, and this is the heroic marks that didn't drop. Yet another raid. I don't know what's going on, but conch marks just don't wanna drop on the runs that I'm joining. But we're gonna fix this, we still have a lot of time. And we get the shard now, and officially guys, we have 31 shards in our bags so far. But this episode is not going to end like it usually does. We're going to log on Deckmaster and we're gonna collect our hardly earned gold, because we always like to have more gold that we actually need for the week. So if something pops out in real life, we are covered. And after that, we're going to go to the auction house and we're gonna buy some flasks and this time some potions. And why could we buy flasks and potions when the LOD run is already over? Well, it's for the next Ruby Sanctum 25 heroic that we are going to do. But there's a little detail that I wanna mention now, and it's I forgot to start the recording when we've started the boss. And guys, seriously, I don't know what got into my mind, but somewhere out of nowhere I thought, wait, am I recording while the boss was already under 10% HP? I don't know how this happened, but I managed to turn on the recording. And can you imagine what would happen if I actually didn't record this? Damn, there would be so many speculations going on. And now you're gonna ask why? What am I talking about? What speculations? Well, we've killed the boss and look at the loot. We both have Penumbra and Apocalypse Advance, 2 best in slot items that we can roll on. And now I think it's gonna be best if I just leave the original recording with the Discord recorded so you can see what happened.
This wasn't doing better than me on the boss. So he's like, this started doing AOE damage. Fucking trash can.
And because of Ollie, he won't be rolling any items. So
Nothing job for him, anyways.
it's slick, Olak.
Man, ninja swearing this, bro.
Yeah, you know what time
Check
it
this
is.
guy, bro. He won everything.
Using bad words,
Yeah,
really.
Even these people notice.
And I'm basically left without words, guys. I cannot believe it. From the things that happened in the previous episode, getting no item upgrades, we get 2 best in slot Ruby Sanctum heroic items in the same run. Damn, can you believe that? Because I couldn't believe it. It took me like 30 minutes to realize what actually happened. So we finally can end the episode, guys, properly. We got 7 shards and 2 best in SWAT items from Ruby Sanctum in a single episode. So thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next one.